I have
Barbecue,
coffee,
what?
Coca-Cola, and water, and then bourbon in the cupboard.
Oh, perfect.
How can you barbecue? That's such an American fucking thing.
It's not actually barbecue. It's just Dr. Pepper.
Because
I can't
that sounds like
see
something
you.
Americans would drink. I believe.
But you know what? That is the best way that we've started this stream yet. How can you barbecue water? Anyway, so yeah, we're starting off this stream real solid.
Barbecue
Terry,
water.
apparently. How dare you? How dare you come on and mess everything up?
I'm so happy to be here, and it's just an honor to be nominated.
The Academy Award for
Yeah, so on
the
that
most
note,
echo.
we're here for our bullshit as per usual, our monthly chaos, whatever the fuck this is. I'm Rick, the dude who does all the stuff on this channel. With me as always is Ellie. Hey, and I actually pointed to the right person this time. Ellie, who are you?
I'm Ellie.
Amazing. Nailed it.
Pleasure. We'll end it there. I'm Pleasure Nerd. I'm an artist. I used to be digital, now I moved more onto traditional due to people not liking digital as much thanks to AI. But yeah, and I am a little chaos gremlin that helps Rick host this show. In that, I probably should have put those inverted commas around helps, not host. He does host it. And yeah, my pronouns are she, her.
Fantastic. And Terry. Oh, there we go. I can do things. It's all reversed. Terry, who are you?
Hi, I'm Terry Smith, host of the Cave Trulls Podcast, he, him. I do everything for CampyKilledCreations.com, working with the Slovenly Trolls and their podcast as well, producing for that. And I'm a comic book writer, so if you want to find my stuff, T.S. Luther, where all comics and digital comics are sold.
Fantastic. So, we are here today to talk about Tales from the Loop. So, tell us a little bit about that, Terry. Like, what is this chaos?
Oh, yay. Tales from the Loop is chaotic. It's like kids on bikes with a few more rules, a little bit more or less improv, I guess probably would be the way to put it. If you're familiar with that game system, it's a D6 system, and it's all about kids getting into shenanigans a la The Goonies or Stranger Things. The setting itself is really, really cool and kind of unique. It's based around this somewhat more fantastical or futuristic 80s setting. Somewhere in Europe, there is a loop, a big Hadron collider, and around it are machines and different dimensional beings that attack. But that's all normal for you. It's strange when aliens show up, but not so strange. And you get into the shenanigans with your friends. Exactly. That's from what I understand, right? That's what happens if you're just part of the Union. That's why the UK that's why they were leaving the European Union, is because of the aliens. So
yeah.
If you didn't understand Brexit, that's what was happening.
I mean, that's quite literally what it was all about. Like, not in regards to extraterrestrials, unfortunately. It's just how we viewed other people. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well,
other Europeans. So thanks for bringing up that old wound. Jeez.
Can we just get into some geopolitical politics real quick? I'd much prefer that than the tabletop gaming. It just makes me way more comfortable.
Look. At some point in this stream, we always get off on some kind of like bullshit
we
political.
On to Brexit. We always just trigger the English person.
Actually, yeah, it usually is either Brexit stuff or America sucks and we're all gonna die in a fire, probably.
Not mutually exclusive. Unfortunately, those go hand in hand quite often. Let's just get into right-wing politics. Let's just talk about it. But yeah, that's Tales from the Loop in a nutshell. You use D6s, your stats. It's a really easy game to play because your stat is how many dice you roll. And if you get a 5 or a 6, you succeed. And if you don't get those, you fail. But your kids can't die. So they can get hurt. They get boo-boos. They get sad. But if they talk to an adult or their special friends, they can heal them. And you can go have fun again. So you can have the Goonies 2 on Super Nintendo.
Special friends in the like context of kids is very concerning.
You know, that's a good point. I meant because it's not always parents or guardians, it's whoever your special bond is with. But when you say special and kids, as a father, you're right, that would set off red flags for me. But it can be a mentor, it can be a friend. A trusted adult.
A trusted friend.
Crap.
Yeah.
You would think that would be in my lexicon, again, being a father, but it wasn't.
So I work for the National Health Service. That's kind of how we work.
And I'm a social worker, so
a trusted adult.
Yeah.
And
you have real adult
a lot
jobs.
of content for 11-year-olds. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a content creator for the NHS.
Oh, okay. I used to do content creation for big automotive companies because America. And I used to write about parts. So like if you bought like a brake pad, I wrote that little snippet that talked about it. So also really important to the world. So I just want you to know I'm on your level.
I get to read what clinicians have put, which is a lot of jargon.
We get it. You contribute to society.
And then I have to write it for 11-year-olds because that's the national literacy level of the UK is 11 years old.
Pretty sure you guys are doing.
So I have to write in lovely short sentences with very pretty graphics.
In the US, 11 is the literacy age.
I don't.
It used to be 9, so we were all very proud of ourselves.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I have several friends that don't know how to read, but that's okay.
Artemis, this is 100% a one-up show. That's why we're here. This is just a fake title. Sorry to break it to you. All right. So after all of that chaos, as per usual, tell us how we make a character in this game. How do we do that?
Well, first up, we got to pick what kind of a kid we want. So the way that they separate it is kind of by classes, similar to any other system, but you're picking a trope for your kid. So are you the bookworm? Are you the computer geek? So we need to go through, and we're doing one together, right? We all make one single character. Yeah, so we got to go pick our archetype, our trope for who our kid is first.
So tell us about our options, because I don't have that pulled out.
Sure, I can do that. First up, you have the bookworm, which is exactly what it sounds like. You're the library kid. When you read, you travel thousands of miles to foreign countries, speak with mad poets, discuss the meaning of life with philosophers who died hundreds of years ago, etc., and so forth. But you have lots of skills like problem solving using your books. You could pick an iconic item like a magnifying glass or an encyclopedia because you're the cool kid. And your drive is really becoming smarter and learning more things about what's going on in whatever crazy, fantastical world you're playing in. The bookworm is really, really fun if you want to be the nerdy kid who the other kids go to solve the problems. The classic in the movies, like the Goonies. You have Data, who's just like, oh, I know how this works. So that's a fun one to play as. Just stop me if you want to interject or if you like one. Next up is the computer geek. And that one's exactly what it sounds like. I don't need to get into that. You can hack fast. You're like Hacker Man from Kung Fury. If you want to hack back in time, you want to be the computer geek. If you have somebody who's typing on the same keyboard as you, at the same time, you can hack faster, as everybody knows if you've ever seen a police procedural.
Yeah, that's science.
That's my favorite one to play. Yeah, that's science. Exactly. You get it. For the iconic item for that one, it lists a computer, obviously, a pocket calculator, or a toy lightsaber, which is just amazing. I don't know what that makes you a computer geek, but if you have a toy lightsaber, you might be a computer geek. Excuse me. Next up is the Hick. And the Hick is also exactly what it sounds like. It's kind of a mechanic type role, but it's got a lot of the country bumpkin flavors. So you might have an iconic item and it just lifts tractor. So I don't know if they think that tractor is a portable thing, but your iconic item could be going up.
It's portable. You just have to be in it to port it.
They do drive.
A car is portable.
Sure. Like they list everything else as like something that you can carry, like a crowbar
in a pocket.
But I
like the idea that that's like your special kind of thing. Like, you know what? My defining feature, the thing that's always with me, you'll never see me without, my tractor. You are.
Listen, I come from the middle of nowhere, tons of farms. I had kids who drove their tractors to school, but I did see them without their tractors, in like first period or gym class. They didn't have it on.
They didn't drive it in the school. That's rude.
Yeah, so that's what separates it from being iconic for me. Next up, you have the jock. Again, exactly what it sounds like. You can carry a baseball bat or you have a BMX bike. Your teachers hate you is a problem that they list. I didn't know that was an issue for jocks, but apparently it is in this setting. They're in for thrills as long as it has to do with athletics. So you can be a jock. They list a hockey player as the example, but they're wearing baseball pants. So I think that they might have been a little confused with the sports dialect going on there. Next up, they have the popular kid, which it's just a valley girl. If you know anything about movies, it's just a valley girl with a really cool polo and really high top Nikes. Next up is the rocker, which is more of an emo kid. It's very very silly Danzig kind of punk kid from the 80s. Yeah, beautiful. They list a boombox or a leather jacket as the iconic items, which you can make up your own iconic item, but I never do. I always pick from their examples. So when my hick rolls around, I have my tractor. Next up, you have the troublemaker, and it's just carrying a chain. And there's nothing more terrifying than seeing a youth with a chain, because they're going to hurt you.
Listen, I'm here for this one.
You're here for
my
the
choice.
troublemaker? We could pick lighter and cigarettes as our iconic item.
Like you do.
So if you're from the UK, it sounds like it's essentially a council kid, like a council estate kid, or a chav. It seems like chav has finally made its way through to the States in that beauty gurus have started doing chav makeup, which is fascinating because chav makeup hasn't changed since I was a teenager.
Yeah, this is based around the 80s. I feel like we had kids that looked like that. Just judging by the mullet, which is everything that all my friends had running around. We had some kids like that. Their chains didn't have hooks on the end of them, though, which is terrifying a little bit.
I mean, that's just progress, right?
Troublemaker.
Moving up in the world.
Right. They're definitely upgrading. This kid looks like he killed another kid at the beginning of a Stephen King book. And then I believe the last one is the weirdo, which is like the girl from the Breakfast Club who's always stealing things and putting dandruff on stuff. She also has a crow in this image, which I love. The girl who walks around who just has a bird.
Yeah, that's a tough choice, honestly.
I feel like one definitely fits us as this group better than others, but I don't need to say which one. That's for the audience to assume.
I already feel personally
attacked. It's the jock. It's totally jock. We are all jocks.
Yes, I am wearing baseball pants right now.
Yeah, you can tell by the glasses and the fact we're talking about TTRPGs.
Right, exactly. Sports.
I love sports ball. It's my favorite kind of ball.
I was really enjoying the pregnant pause. I wasn't sure if people would think that there's something wrong with the audio or if we were just taking a moment to really soak in all of the sports. I am wearing yoga pants, so I'm ready for some athleticism.
Or at least being kind of stretchy,
They are sort of stretchy.
Yes, I'm definitely wearing sports gear. Mm-hmm. Yep.
To be fair, that does seem like sports attire for the UK. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, we wear knitted jumpers for the sports.
That's technically, what I thought. Yeah,
technically this is a baseball tee, so sports.
So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
my muscle shirt saying alpha male.
Right.
That I will be making at some point.
As you should. Yeah, I mean, I'm down for I forget what the name of the trope was now. The kid with the chain and the lighter, or the weird kid. They're both
the troublemaker.
Both delightful.
The troublemaker, yeah. Oh,
So
the
yeah.
weirdo has a
Great.
pet rat as its iconic feature. Because that's. I mean, I wasn't around in the 80s. I'm not gonna make people feel old. I wasn't around in the 80s. I don't know whether pet rats taken to school is a common
I was there for
thing.
like a whole 10 months of it. 10 and a half months. So basically an expert.
I thought being in the UK that you would have seen people with pet rats and pet owls and when you went to visit them.
And cats on the shoulder and
exactly.
stuff.
Yeah. I thought is that not normal grade school etiquette?
Not well. I don't even know what grade school is.
That's fair.
I really
UK
don't
and
know.
your weird
I'm
names for
sorry.
school.
Is that like primary?
It's elementary
Is that
school
like,
for us.
Okay,
When you're children, first grade, second grade, third grade.
So that would be that would be primary school. So that's
You can't just make up words because you're at a different
ages.
You
Technically-
just mess with us.
Technically, they made English before
No, it's
us.
not. It's
We just
really
made
cool.
it better.
It's primary, secondary, and college, and then university. Because it really confuses people when I say that I went to college and not university. When I talk to Americans, because it makes it seem like I went and properly studied art, and I actually just did the equivalent of 3 A levels, which I don't know what your thing for that is, but it's like between the ages of 16 and 18, I studied art.
While you studied art, I studied the blade. That's our thing.
Sorry, that came out at force.
We're doing so good.
So-
we're
So
amazing.
troublemaker it is. So we're a tough kid who never holds back. Your classmates are afraid of you or look up to you. The teachers hate you and everybody is nagging you to change, but they don't understand that you don't live in the same world as they do. When life turns on you, humiliates you, and hurts you, there is only one thing to do: fight back with a chain.
Yeah, that checks out. Like I see no flaw in that logic.
No,
Whatsoever.
not at all. And we get 3 key skills going along with the troublemaker. So with your class, you get 3 skills that can go up to rank 3, I believe, that are force, sneak, and lead. Force is kind of like the fighting skill in this game. So if you need to hit something, push something, use force. Sneaking is obvious, and leading is the aspect that can kind of help with group roles. It can help your friends roll things.
Ellie, you got any input on this?
We're going to be playing the unhinged person.
Sure, exactly.
Just fully couple of screws loose. I'm curious as to I feel like I would like to pick all of the problems that this poor kid has. So for context for everyone else, it's a very depressing life, which would be my parents say that I'm good for nothing. My mother or father drinks a lot, and we're short of money.
I didn't
And
know
I
you
feel
only
like
get
all
one
of
of those.
those.
I feel like that's one problem. If you have any one of those problems, you have all 3 of those problems.
It's kind of
That checks out.
I mean, alternatively, I only have a single parent. Could add to the trauma of this poor child that's acting out.
We don't know they're acting out. Like the chain could be for helping people get out of the ditch when they get stuck, or hanging.
It's an emotional support
to
chain.
dry meat.
People. Yeah. Sorry, was that not the right answer? I'm bad at these things.
And we also need to pick our iconic item, which is next. So they list examples: lighter and cigarettes, knife, or skateboard. But we can also make up our own.
Could we have a knife skateboard?
A knife
skateboard that's just made out of knives.
Is that a knife taped to a skateboard or a skateboard taped to a knife?
I think.
Yes.
Well, because like back then it was the board, like it's not like the contemporary boards, is it? With the nice thin wood and curved. It was just like a chunk of wood with wheels on it.
It's not the 50s. This is the 80s. They had skateboards.
I know.
It's also-
I was there.
It's also the slightly
No, I meant
different
like
80s.
not
so
literally
like,
a chunk of wood, like the ones
it
that
could
are
be
pointed.
it could be
I'm
the Back to
trying
the
to
Future
think of
hoverboard for all we know.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, like the common parlance of like skateboards now, like the concave shape and everything.
That's what I'm thinking is the one that I'm like.
Sure.
That's what I think of when I think of it. But I think it's like a flat board, isn't it? That was about.
Some
Or
of
have
them.
they?
I don't want to get into full skateboard history here. I don't know what your
I
experience
used to watch a lot of skateboard like videos when I was younger because I really wanted to be one, but I didn't have the balance because I'm also dyspraxic. So for those who don't know what dyspraxia is, that is a developmental disorder with coordination. I would have ended up with no teeth.
Oof.
I mean, really,
I
teeth
was a
are
skateboard
overrated,
kid growing
from
up,
what I've heard.
and I didn't lose any teeth.
My partner was, and I'm very jealous of him because he goes out every so often, just goes up and down. And I'm like, I wish I could even stand on a board without immediately falling off. Like, he's
Terry,
tried to teach me for about 4 hours, and I fall off without
Terry,
holding his hand.
our friend Kayla from Potions and Potpourri is demanding you name 3 skateboarders right now.
Yeah, are you even a skateboarder?
Tony Hawk and Jack Black, obviously. He's the unlockable character from Tony
Spider-Man.
Hawk.
Spider-Man was also in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, so you know he's Spider-Man.
Officer. I want to say Dibble, but I think that's not the right one. I can't remember the officer name. But yeah, that was Jack Black.
Yeah, I've never played Tony Hawk, but my skateboarding video game experience was Spyro because there's the skateboarding levels. So you know, basically a professional.
Well,
I'll
give you extra points. Can you name Spyro's friend that he skateboarded with?
Absolutely not. I have
His name was Hunter. And you're a fake skateboarding girl. That's what I'm finding out right now, Rick.
Rick, you're a fake skateboarding
girl. You're a fake skateboarding girl. You just don't have. You can't name people like Bucky Lastic, which is who I played as in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. So,
I played Skate 3, a lot, like a lot.
It was almost a non sequitur somehow. Just the way that you brought it up. Like, even though we are talking about skateboarding, you just said it like we weren't talking about skateboarding.
That's not what I said.
It's because we've moved on, obviously.
That's ADHD to the max. I can relate so hard, but you somehow found a way to like still go out there, even though that was the topic. It's impressive. I'm proud of you.
So this is my issue also in my day job. My manager also has ADHD tendencies, and we're supposed to talk about one thing on the call, and we end up talking about the future of the project.
It is literally impossible to only talk about one thing. Literally.
Yeah.
No, it's really difficult. And also, I have a tendency to ask how people are, and then really ask how people are, and then they tell me, and then we spiral from there. I've learned about my colleagues' internet like troubles and their issues with getting a new broadband provider. So
sure. What did they go with? Which provider?
You won't know them.
Excuse you? What am I just some uncultured American that I don't know cable providers?
Oh, okay.
Wow. I don't have pearls to clutch, but I would if I could.
Ones. I don't know who AT&T are, or what is it? Verizon is one of your ones, I think.
That doesn't mean I don't want to learn, Ellie. God.
Okay, so she was with BT and now is with TalkTalk because they've gone full fiber in the area with you guys don't have great infrastructure. Sorry, this is how
we do not.
Wow, way to just call us out like full force.
No, I know. It's just because you're still on copper, from my understanding. You're still
Sometimes
on like
they've been installing
up
5G
to
in like
60.
rural areas here because it just
5G
is more.
is different to full fiber. 5G is still mobile.
No, not
internet.
5G, fiber. I'm saying we have fiber.
Oh,
here.
sorry, yeah.
They're installing that around places.
Like
you-
full fiber
You
instead of
definitely
fiber
said
to the
5G,
cabinet.
so
And
I was confused.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
only
no, I was
because it's like cheaper to do it long run. If it wasn't cheaper, they wouldn't do it. We would still be with the string attached to Dixie cups. Because that's what the taxpayers will.
That's what I live
buy
for,
here.
really. Like that's my entire
Exactly.
communication style right there.
the military doesn't need it, so it's fine.
Bingo.
Um,
But see, now the next time
right.
I'm talking to somebody from the UK, I can mention Talk, and they're gonna be like, "Holy shit, you know that?" And I go, "Yes, I do know that now."
Talk, Virgin Media. You probably have Virgin Media. What's the other ones? BT, Zen Internet. Although they're not super popular, but I know of them. And then there's loads of like stuff like Tesco and their internet stuff.
And now
You're
I will
welcome.
know. And sorry, Rick, you're gonna have to rein us in because I'm just getting to know you.
Rick's
This
not going to
is
be
my
able
role.
to do this.
Yeah, this is my role on this show. I let the
I feel
chaos
like
just go,
the-
and then I bring it back in eventually. Sometimes, sort of. Not
I
really.
feel like the requirement for coming on here is you must have some form of ADHD.
That sounds like that's only fair. Be really out of their element if they
You
came
must
on.
be-
they should focus.
You
I
must be on
think
the Schofield. Is it Schofield? The spice level. You have to be higher up on the spice
You got to
level.
be more neurospicy than other people in order to check this out. That's fair. That's probably true for your audience as well, right? They're probably really lost.
Probably.
Yeah, poor Kayla. I'm so sorry.
Well, to bring it all back, I don't mind doing it. I posted a picture of an 80s skateboard that was really similar to the one that I had. So it is still a little bit more concave on top, but it definitely has the fish shape with the fin and everything.
That's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of that shape and I couldn't articulate it. So thank you.
So our iconic item
up.
could be a skateboard with a knife.
With a
taped to the
knife
front of it.
attached to it. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like the Peaky Blinders where they would sew razor blades into the cat.
Exactly like
You sew knives.
So English.
You sew knives into your skateboard.
If you are a skateboarder, you know if you just break enough, like if you're trying to slow down, the edges of your board
you get the razor
sharp.
edge, yeah.
Yeah, so you really don't need a knife.
We combine it.
Hurt yourself, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
We just made
Literally, my
skateboards.
husband has had
You're
to
welcome.
replace his board recently because he got a razor edge on his one.
I had to buy a couple of new ones because my son wanted to learn, and I was like, "You can't use mine because mine's a weapon. Like you're going to hurt yourself or someone else with it." So, so there we go. We picked our iconic item.
I was gonna say, did we decide on the skateboard then?
Yeah.
Skateboard with they've used it so much they have a razor's edge, so it could be used as a knife. A very big knife, more of a sharpened shield.
Yes. Is somebody writing this down? I don't quite know what your process is.
I was attempting to, but this PDF is not cooperating with me. So.
I actually printed everything off so I could be prepared. And then, you know what I forgot to get? A fucking pen. I thought I had one. And I think I've actually not. Wow, Ellie, you're so smart. How did you get so far in life? Am I sat on it? Is that the... Yes. I was sat on the pen. Hi, we're a professional. Well, we are professionals. No, we're jointly a single professional.
Together, we make one professional. We're like the Power Rangers.
We formed the Megazord or like the Voltron of it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I
that's
understand
the only
why
reason
so
we have
confused.
guests. The only reason we have guests.
The
Otherwise, it would just be the two of us, and it would look really weird.
Yeah, when I sent you the run of show for when you guested on my podcast, now I understand why you were like, "Oh, interesting, run of show. You have it planned. We know what we're doing going into this."
I've
Now I
never
get
heard of this
why.
plan you speak of. I don't know. Not a clue. No, I
Only
mean
heard of them in
we like to
work
improvise.
situations.
Sure.
Especially since
Yeah,
this year we started doing like not D&D, and usually every
yeah.
yes, Kayla, 30 minutes later we pick skateboard. Thank you for pointing it out for the world.
The thing is, Kayla, this is going to go really fast. If you've played Tales from the Loop, you make like 5 decisions and you're ready to play. So we're kind of on the right trajectory to finish this by the end of the stream.
Well, we used to do like pick a thing and think of characters like D&D related, and then they went and pulled the shit with wow, brain, that was a great time to blue screen.
One D&D?
That was the one. When they pulled that stuff, and
really,
we were just
like
oh, I don't
everything
really
Wizards
wanna
of the
do
Coast
that
has done
no
in the
more.
last like 6 months or so. Just fuck them.
It's been awesome since they did that for me, since I play so many systems. So many more of my friends have been open to, oh yeah, I'll try Tales from the Loop. Well, I'll play GURPS with you. It's been wonderful because so many of them only would play D&D. And as someone who I like a lot of different TTRPGs, it's been really exciting for them to finally kind of come out of their shell and go, sure, we'll try other things since Hasbro apparently is evil. So it's been really exciting.
Only just now.
Who knew?
They've always been, but you know, people learn.
Yeah, nobody could have guessed that
Well, one of
years
my
ago or anything.
favorite. Oh, sorry. One of my favorite things to do was watch. I think Abria Angar, because she tends to combine different systems.
Hell yeah!
When she role plays and or GMs, and since watching that, I'm like, oh, I love this. Like, I want this to happen more often. It just makes it a much more interesting experience from what I've kind of seen. So my issue is that I don't know many systems outside of Dungeons and Dragons. So it tends to mean that I am at a bit of a loss when it comes to this stuff. And I don't really know a lot of pop culture. Like, I wasn't into Avatar. Like, the nostalgia of like our generation, I wasn't allowed to play Pokemon growing up. I wasn't allowed to read Harry Potter growing up, religious parents. And then
nobody in the States can relate to
didn't
that
really
statement
play
at
a
all.
lot of Nintendo. Didn't really enjoy Avatar at all. So all of my references are weird and niche compared to everyone else.
And yet,
So I've read
and yet a few episodes
Harry
ago we
Potter
did
as an
Avatar
adult.
Legends because fuck you.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Exactly.
Well, if you ever want to try other systems, just let me know. I don't think a single game I run is not built on at least more than 2 games. So we always run.
There wasn't a decent time difference between us. That would be perfect.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm a dad and I work from home, so sleep is kind of a distant entity for me.
I work from home, but my manager frequently calls me, so it's a nightmare.
Everything's fine.
Anyway,
totally fine.
Work, troublemaker.
Yes. So next up, we got to pick our problem. So
which we've said all of them.
Sure. I will throw out that the weirdo has a really good one, which is my father is a communist, which I don't see that as a problem. I thought
you were going to end that sentence with CUNT.
my father is a cunt. Sure.
Yeah.
That would be a problem, I think, depending on what your situation is. But that's a really fun one to throw out there. But for the examples for troublemaker we've talked about, could just combine it all into one. My parents say that I'm good for nothing. My mother/father drinks a lot, and we're short on money, which is just being poor. You could say you're poor. Almost all of those become true.
Yeah, my parent is a communist, and my brother is doing weird things in his bedroom.
Oh God, I didn't remember that second one. Those also go hand in hand, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, communists do a lot of weird things in their bedroom.
It's just reading Karl Marx. It's not that weird.
It just gets a little spicy. It's fine.
Depends on how much you like Karl Marx.
And how much faith you have in humanity.
Well, I mean, who has much these days? I don't know.
Yeah,
Right, my notes have been communist, poor, alcoholic.
When you try to explain to people other games, you're like, oh, D&D, it's like, figure out, like, do you have any fantasy powers, or do you have a sword? What's Tales from the Loop like? Well, communist, poor, skateboard
alcoholic,
with knives
good for nothing.
I think we should go with poor. I think that's a pretty universal thing that people can relate to.
Kind of catch-all. Yeah.
I wrote down poor and commie dad because, you
know. We're doing great, guys. We're really, really nailing this.
All right. The next up is we need to choose our drive. Like what kind of makes us get up and go. I'll do anything to get away from home and my friends, and what we do is the only thing not broken in my life are the two examples for the drive.
Oh,
I know, right? That second one got real.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, I don't.
If therapists were a thing.
If only they existed.
Well, not for kids, like
not in the 80s, definitely.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, my husband would have a lot less trauma if he had a therapist when he was a kid.
It was all Garbage Pail Kids, and
that's the only therapy.
It was the whole thought process of kids bounce back no matter what.
Right.
No, kids hide things like drugs.
All right, so which of these traumas are we going
I need to stop saying the inner thoughts
right.
out loud. I'm sorry, guys.
I think we gotta get away from home because it doesn't make me want to cry every time I read that one.
I mean, that still makes me quite sad.
It's still sad, but that second one, my friends and what we do is the only thing not broken in my life. Jesus.
Everything's fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like there's got to be like a watermark from whoever wrote that in this book.
No, he's just ahead of the game.
Honestly, whoever wrote that, I would want to check that they're okay.
They're just really ahead of the game on being emo. I mean, they're just ahead of the curve.
I think the answer is they're not okay. If you've read the rest of this book or the sequel game, which is called Things from the Flood, where you're teenagers in the 90s, these are very depressing games. Everything from Free League Publishing usually is depressing. So looking at Merkborg or Cyborg or any of those games, you're meant to cry when you play these.
Perfect. That's.
I don't. I cry at like adverts.
It's currently 11:17 in the morning on a Sunday. I'm ready to cry.
Yeah, let's get a good cry on.
No.
No. Are we ready to move on to the next one?
Pride, yeah.
I helped a bird with a broken wing, or I stood up to the teacher.
Do we want to make them secretly soft?
Obviously. I mean, we can't just go full-on hardcore trope. Like, where's the fun in that?
The chain is for pulling broken winged birds out of the sewer and saving them.
Putting them out of their misery.
Are we saving them from clowns in the sewer? Is that what we're doing?
Yes, exactly. Full 80s. That's exactly it, you know? Everything floats down there.
Including dead birds.
Oh, man. So this PDF really, really hates me today. So we're just gonna move on.
Saved birds with broken. I'm so glad you guys can't see my handwriting.
I know. I think we need to see this. I've been waiting for that ever since you said that I printed it out. Oh, that's not
My
that bad.
handwriting is abysmal.
I have to write in
Well,
cursive
to the point
because my
where
printing
I
is
have
so
to.
bad.
I had to read back through some notes the other day for a project board, and it was a very important piece of information. I could not tell you what I had written. I could tell what most of the words were, but the key part of the sentence, no idea.
So obviously it wasn't that important. If you can't read it, not that important.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I was asked about it, which was frustrating because I was like, I thought you were meant to take your own notes.
We could probably skip the next two sections because it's about building out the rest of the party, unless you want to have relationships to other made-up kids or relationships to NPCs.
That sounds like a lot of work, and
Sure.
yeah, no.
The next up then would be the anchor, which is the trusted adult that you would have in your game that you go to for the healing aspects of the game. So the examples they have here are janitor at school, school psychologist, or grandma.
So therapy does exist in this game, but we're all still really fucked up, is what I'm hearing.
Right, exactly. Also, whose school had a psychologist? Because my school didn't even have a nurse.
I don't even know if we had I think we had a chaplain. No,
I
No, we
don't
didn't.
think those are
That was one of
allowed
the
here
science
unless you go
teachers.
to like Jesus school specifically.
Right, like it's like
No.
you just have a vicar instead of anybody that like if Jesus can't heal you, then it's not a problem.
I'm making myself seem like it was really wild. It wasn't. It was a Church of England school. And there are lots of them.
That's a little bit wild still. You know.
That's a little for like us. Like we're in the Midwest. That's still strange for us.
Well, it'd be weird for you to have a Church of England school, yeah.
It's true. I mean,
what's wrong with you?
It's Protestant or you're wrong, apparently.
Right, is that we don't even really have a lot of Catholic schools in the Midwest. There's still some for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think
Chicago.
I think we've got like one or two where I live now, and then like maybe one at home.
I feel like Catholic schools are a bit weird, though.
Yes, and the Church of England schools are just completely normal as you go to the chaplain
Genuinely!
because you got a boo-boo.
No. So I think there was a school. No, there were school nurses. I think they were more like administrators, though. I'm trying to think of my secondary school.
Demonstrably not the same thing.
Well, because I remember being hit in the face by a shoe in the locker room, and a lot about my childhood here.
We're learning so much today. So much not about Tales from the Loop, but that's okay.
Well,
That's not what we're here for.
someone threw a shoe across the locker room, and it hit me square in the face, and it broke my glasses.
Are you okay?
And no, like generally, no, no, but like so it hit me in the face, and my vision is quite bad, so I couldn't it wasn't like Velma level, but I can't read at all without glasses, and I get double vision like naturally. If I focus, I get double vision. So I got sent to the school's office, and they asked me if I could see double, and I was like, yeah. So they called up my parents and got them to take me home, and my dad got there and was like, you didn't tell them that was your normal no glasses state, did you? And I was like, no, I don't want to be here.
Why would you do that when you could get out of school?
Yeah, exactly. It's like the time that I bit into a garlic capsule and vomited, and told my teacher that, and didn't tell them that I'd bitten into a garlic capsule. I just vomited that day, and they were so upset at my mum. And my
I'm
mum
gonna
was
regret
like, you
this,
didn't
but
tell
what is
them
a
about.
garlic capsule?
So like garlic oil type thing it's like kind of like a vitamin-y type thing.
You have to remember we're Americans,
cod liver oil
therefore we
type
don't
thing.
have healthcare.
Yeah, we don't have healthcare, but garlic capsule. Well, I'm gonna write that down. That's going in.
Do you have like cod liver oil? type thing.
I mean, I've seen it in movies about like England.
Right.
Oh,
We have essential oils.
It's not quite like that. So, it supposedly was to help stop the midges biting you, which they did.
You're just making more stuff up. Every sentence you're putting something more on me to Google.
Okay, midges are like mosquitoes. They bite you.
I mean, I understood.
Do you not have midges?
We have mosquitoes.
I mean, we have mosquitoes. We have a lot of mosquitoes in there.
Midges are much easier to say, and they're horrible. And they bite you.
But not if you have the garlic capsules. So
yeah.
Jesus.
Because apparently me and my brother were delicious.
So what I'm hearing is you have very tiny vampires in the UK.
Yeah, and we call them midges.
Oh my god.
And my brother and I were delicious.
So, are we going with janitor or school psychologist?
Why not grandma?
Grandma it is. Grandma works.
I mean, Kayla already voted for janitor, and you know we can't deny our
audience.
Oh, there you go.
That's true.
So
no, it has to be janitor now.
Just real quick, I'm going to give you one thing. Without any context, my janitor of my high school was my landlord.
That's odd.
That me and my friends rented from because we didn't live with our parents. And I'm not going to give you a long story on that. I was just really satisfied to see you give me the look I've been giving you the entire show, Ellie. So I really appreciate it.
You're frozen for me, so I can't see what your reactions to what I say are. You look very excited on my screen.
I was really excited for that.
That was the reaction. That was all of it right there.
Next up, we have to name our little troublemaker here.
Oh, because this is the loop in the States, isn't it? Not in Sweden, which is where it's based, I think.
It could be either one. They have two. They have two options there. If you're going to use the real setting, which, funnily enough, I don't normally do. I usually use this system to run like a Goonies type game or Stranger Things. I've only ever played in the official setting once or twice.
Yeah, husband is Swedish, so we have like that was from his family to us. The Tales in the Loop book that we've got. So I was like, oh, cool! I know some Swedish names. We'll make it the States because that's
let's
much easier.
Let's get the Swedish name for this American kid.
Mostly V's: Victor, Vincent, Vilma.
Oh,
Stefan.
That's a long name. That's all of his names.
Gunnar. Why did Sven come into my head? That's not his name. Bengt. Björn. Björn's a nice name. It means bear.
Bear, yeah, exactly. Bjorn is what I would have gone with because that's the only one I knew.
Björn is a nice name. I'm trying to think of other ones, but no, all I'm thinking of is that I really want to call a dog Björn. Or Bernard. Bernard's a good name for a dog.
Very English.
She's just lost in thought now. It's just out there.
I'm so sorry.
My vote is for Bjorn as well.
I should get like a little buffering sign.
Listen, I too get lost in thought about dogs sometimes, so it's fine.
Bernard's my grandfather's name, who's still alive. So if I'm going to call anything Bernard, it needs to be whilst he's alive. Otherwise, it's going to be offensive to call a dog Bernard when he passes.
We were so close. We're like, we pick a name, keep going, and we get to Bernard.
Not allowed. So
sorry,
because I'm very uncultured, is this like BJORN?
Yeah. Okay. With a, I think it's called an umlaut over the O.
Yeah, I took 2 years of German in high school. 15.
It's the two dots to make a shocked face.
And next up gets into the other, I guess, somewhat quicker thing is when we stat out the character. So you start picking your age, which matters in this game. In other games, it really doesn't matter, right? You're 17, you're a 200-year-old elf. But the age in this game is how you determine certain stats. So your age up to 15 years is what you do, because then you're no longer a kid according to this system. So we have to be between 10 and 15.
Okay, but how depressing would it be to have a kid that's like, the only good thing in my life is my friends? And they're 10.
But we didn't go that route.
It gets real sad.
Because we didn't want to be that sad.
I didn't want to cry every time.
I cry every time.
I mean, I'm currently playing a 10-year-old in Kids on Bikes on the Even Footing Games podcast. So like, 10's a solid age.
Well, let's make them 11.
You get more luck points the younger you are in this.
This one goes up to 11.
I'm just trying to, because 11, you start. I'm trying to think this in school terms. I'm so sorry.
Oh, don't worry. You'll completely lose us because that's like a foreign language here.
Yeah. So I'm like year 7. Year 7. I remember the feeling all like confident in year 6, and then feeling like I knew nothing in year 7.
That's kind of similar to us. If you live in the Midwest, that's usually when you'll go to like junior high, right around that age. So like you're like the top dog at your elementary school, and then you go to like a middle school or a middle school combined with a high school, and you're a little kid again.
Yeah, you're like the youngest and you don't know anything, and like so it's all really frustrating and difficult.
Yeah, speaking of schools, I learned a lot just being on this season of the Even Footing Games podcast, because like I grew up in Missouri. A couple of the people grew up in Colorado. Apparently Colorado schools are way differently structured. Like they had very short middle school that started later, and like their high school was weird. It all just seems fake.
That's how I feel whenever people talk about high schools with more than like 200, 300 kids. Like I had like 20 people in my graduating class, and when people go to like my wife's high school, they graduated with like 1,000 people. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. That math doesn't math.
I think we had like 100, maybe 200 in our graduating class. But that's after, all the kids who dropped out because, it was more fun.
Sure, of course. The super seniors who didn't make it.
This means nothing to me.
Well, not everything can be all midgies and garlic capsules, okay?
Yeah,
oh yeah, we all live in castles. Did you guys not know? That's where
garlic capsules, not castles.
No, listen. Everything in the UK is based around castles.
All also live in castles. Right. I've seen Harry Potter. I understand the UK.
Harry Potter's an accurate depiction of British culture from a transphobe. I'm just saying.
Yeah, listen, that last part does make that entire statement true. Through her lens, that definitely becomes accurate.
Yeah. And she was also, anyway, I have because it wasn't part of my childhood, so I feel vindicated for not caring for it.
Not caring about it,
yeah.
Must be
I
nice.
read it and I thought Harry Potter was a shit. I really struggled to
I wasn't a fan until
Harry
the
Potter.
movies, because there was the first book that was ever bought for me that was like a chapter book as a child, and I thought I hated books because I hated the first book. I was like, oh, I don't like books because I didn't like Harry Potter and everybody else does, so I must not like reading. And then when I was like 10 or 11, I got really into reading books because there are other ones other than Harry Potter I didn't know, and I was like, oh shit, books are awesome. Fuck Harry Potter. It ruined books for me for like 5 years.
That's so sad. That's really. I just thought Harry Potter was a shit. Like, you've got a mate. So in theory, you're like a millionaire in another world, and your friend from this other world is in abject poverty, and you do
don't help
nothing to help
whatsoever.
him.
Not even one
Like,
single.
the family
old
takes you
Gringotts.
under their wing, and you don't even like him a new one.
Yeah, no, he
He
bought a lot of
bought
chocolate
the
that
whole
one
trolley,
time.
which fucked
Therefore-
everybody else on the train.
Yeah, poverty
They
is
weren't allowed
solved
to
right
have
there.
any sweets. Poverty is solved. I think he also contributed to the wedding of Ron's brother. I think he helped pay for some stuff in the tent. But you know, other than that, no issues there. I have lots of rich friends who don't help me pay for things. It's great. So now we have to
all of my friends that are wealthier than me are like, I'll pay for your meal. So anyway,
now we have to pick our attributes.
Yep. Body, tech, heart, and mind. I would like to believe that tech means they become more robot,
but I know that that's not the case.
Yeah, we've been playing Cyberpunk this whole time. We tricked you.
There's also a cool rating. It's going to be great.
So you get the amount of points equal to our age. We went with 11, right?
Yes.
So we can put 11 points into our stats, and we can't go higher than 5 in any attribute. And you need to take at least 1 in each.
In the attribute bit.
I feel like
yes.
I feel like in order to subvert this trope, we should make his body fairly low, because I assume that's like his beefiness.
Yes. Is anybody else uncomfortable referring to an 11-year-old's body? Because I have never had to say it out loud.
But also, Björn is a boy, isn't he? So we've gone for a male.
I mean, realistically, we have not defined their gender.
Talk about how puberty starts from the age of 9.
Their gender. It doesn't have to be a boy. Our non-binary Bjorn just hangs out with their grandma.
I mean, we were like not gender but sex.
Well,
it's more about puberty. I'm thinking
like
they wouldn't have started their period because they don't have periods.
Yeah, I don't think they have stats for periods in this.
Yeah, I'm just in my head trying to picture the person of like.
How dare they? How dare they not?
You know what? I'm gonna shut up.
Yeah, there's no menstruation stats in here, and I did kind of knock that on my original review for Tales of the Loop. I was like, there's no mechanics for menstruation, and that's just not fair.
It's because of my work. Because I have to write a lot of stuff up about children's health stuff, lots of pediatric things, and I've recently written about 3 pages on puberty. So I know a lot in the forefront of my brain about puberty and how young puberty starts for women.
I still don't know anything about my own puberty, so if you could fill me in at some point.
Between 11 and whatever, it actually causes more oil production in your hair and body and sweat. Yep, I know. And it means that teenagers stink more, even if they showered the same amount that they did when they were a kid.
I've never heard that before. That wasn't my experience with everybody, needing to have the talk with their parents of, hey, we're gonna buy you deodorant now. We're gonna need you to use that.
It's a really key thing, and it's not really well known, which is wild to me. Because I remember feeling thoroughly gross as a teenager.
I was being sarcastic. It's pretty well known, at least in the circles that I ran in, that we were stinky because we were hitting that age. We were ripe, as we said.
I learned very quickly that kids of a certain age are just disgusting.
They're just gross.
Puberty means more oil production and more sweat production because your glands are developing more due to hormones and stuff. It's really cool, but I was paying more attention to the female puberty stuff because that's normally what people freak out about rather than voices and testicles. So
Listen, as somebody who had a voice and testicles, I freaked out a little bit.
I'm sure you did,
it's
but
valid,
you
but-
don't stain the sofa.
I don't, and I had two older sisters who could explain to me if I was staining the sofa why, and they were very, very helpful for that part for all of my friends who were girls. But for me, going through a completely different set of issues, they were not helpful.
So
But,
we've got
anyway,
we've got
Must be
one
terrible
attribute.
at talking
We've
about
got
puberty.
one attribute so far.
so our body
Yep,
is low.
body.
We put a 1. Tech probably also low because they're poor, right? Not a lot of
Yeah.
access.
They're a tinkerer.
Yeah, they're building it all themselves. The Bill
Out
Gates
of
of the
spare
world building
parts.
it in a their very rich
Yeah.
parents.
So
garage.
I put a 2 in body and a 1 in tech because poor. So
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
If my math is correct, that leaves us with 8 points because I'm very good at that. Are you impressed? That's what grade school gets you here in the States.
listen,
Oh,
math is
fantastic.
my enemy. Math is my BBEG. So
I know I was being sarcastic. I'm great at small math. I went to accounting school, so
That's fascinating.
I know I'm an enigma,
not
and I'm not
great.
going to answer any follow-up questions.
I am always that person that once I have to add everything to 5. That's how I do. Like genuinely, I'm like, how does it get into 5? How many 5s go into the 10? I've been told it's a very ADHD way of
Ellie, you've
calculating,
broken Terry.
adding.
You've broken him.
You just said it like there's so many people that do that. I've never heard. One of those people that
But
have
like
to add
that, they
everything
just
on
add
time.
it to like 5. Like the nearest 10.
I mean, it makes sense.
Going, I can't.
It makes sense.
It completely makes sense.
I feel shamed. I'm done.
no,
No,
This
never. Not even once.
Oh, man.
So I
No shame.
feel like with our remaining 8 points, maybe like
4 and 4.
5. Well, I was thinking like
Where's that
5
with
to heart
five?
and 3 to mind.
Yeah, that works for me. We're all heart here. Pure vibes.
5 in heart and. Oh
And
yeah,
then,
because they wouldn't be. Yeah.
And then Ellie, you
cool.
can help us with the math on this one. For the luck points, we need to subtract our age. So 15 minus our age. So you let me know how many 5s are in that one. And
Leave me alone.
I'm sorry. Sometimes you throw stuff out and I'm just not prepared, and I apologize. I wasn't ready for it.
It's when like I'm thinking more about when I like play D&D and I'm trying to figure out how many damage I've done, and I add to 5 on each thing, and then add them all together. But fine, if other people don't math the same way that I fucking math, that's fine.
They're wrong, but
Whatever. We're
Honestly,
not
that
math
sounds like very
shaming on this
intuitive.
fucking channel.
I'm never gonna be invited
by
back.
the way.
No, I was in. I was gonna be able to come back at some point, and now I laughed too hard at the 5, so
canceled.
I can't.
Canceled right here.
Canceled. Oh man, I had a good run. So 15 minus
4.
11 leaves us with 4 luck points. Thank you, Ellie. You nailed it. So you proved that your math skills are superior.
Oh. No.
And the luck points are kind of like story points in other games or inspiration in D&D. They come in handy if you're trying to beat a role that's going to be particularly difficult, whether it's solo or in a group type role, which really helps with a success-failure game. Luck points can make all the difference. So it is helpful being younger in your group, even if that means that your skills aren't quite as high. So next up, we have to decide our skills, which are the little subcategories for each attribute. This one could take a little while if we don't go through it faster. You may take up to level 3 in the 3 key skills from our class. Anything else that only can have a maximum of 1.
What are the 3 key skills for
Force,
troublemaker?
sneak, and lead.
1, 2, 3.
So we can be a forceful kid, a sneaky kid, or a leader kid.
So it's about so it's 10 points amongst 11 things.
See, that was impressive.
I just wasn't even going to try it because math.
Right, just because they're putting stuff down.
my vote would be sneak, but you know I'm a rogue main, so like.
Oh, I'm a barbarian. I love them. I try not to play them. I like playing tanks.
But we left our body at 2, so we wouldn't be doing very good with it.
Yeah.
Not very strong, but he has really good etiquette. Like, he knows exactly how to lift with his knees, not his back.
So basically, if we made this a D&D thing, he'd be a bard.
But
yeah,
that's how we subvert the
trope.
trope.
Like, he's just really technical with it, right? Like, he's got martial arts training. He's still a very small physique, but...
He watches a lot of Karate Kid.
If done right, no can block, right? Like, no can defend. Everybody knows this.
Yeah,
They've misspelt force on the character sheet I'm on.
They misspelled it?
Yeah.
In like a British way or
no. It's for CE.
I'm so glad you asked that. I'm so glad you asked that because I was thinking it and you just beat
Charlie,
me to it.
Echo.
Right, look, sometimes they're just like, oh, there's no extra U here. And I'm like, that's okay, we don't need it. But
I know how Americans misspell things. This is a genuine misspelling.
How dare you? I guess
you made your language on the shortening of it for paper print. I get it.
You're talking mad shit. I laugh at one math thing, and now you're just telling us all we're illiterate.
Yeah.
Again.
Go fuck yourself.
So
that's how it was spelled. I put it in the chat.
Okay, so our 4C is going to be 3.
Cool.
Yeah, Ellie, I'll just let you write that down because it's just not cooperating anymore. So, yeah.
Cool. I've written it down. 3 in 4C. Do we want them to be like a leader? What's contact?
Contact is the ability to know the right person. So, like, we have an issue that we can't solve, but we need to contact, like, we need to ride somewhere. So you would roll to contact somebody who, like, Big Brother who has a car, kind of thing.
I mean, our heart is our highest, so that would make sense.
Yeah, put a 3 in contact. He's the guy who knows guys, you know.
Oh, it makes sense.
He does know the janitor.
He's such a little shit.
And as Kayla said in the chat, the janitor probably has drugs. So, like, he's clearly got the contact.
Not all poor kids do
drugs. I feel like we need to beef out
okay?
this janitor character. Because I've always thought of, like, janitors as creepy as fuck. So...
I mean,
that's
he
just
can be
stereotypical.
both.
I was a janitor, and I wasn't that creepy.
Not that creepy. Still kind of.
I mean, you can look at me and see there's a little bit of creepiness here, but
how much leering did you do? That's the real
leering.
question.
No leering. I don't want to be perceived by people. I also don't want to perceive people. So
you just got a towel on your head constantly.
I wear those blinders that you put on horses to calm them down. Like that's what I.
I'm thinking very Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
I always do. You always gotta bring a towel.
Yeah, just in case you see someone or they might see you, and if you put it over them, they won't see you anymore because you can't see it.
We've come full circle back to England once again.
Yep.
Listen.
It always does.
Douglas Adams transcends just the UK.
Oh, he's just stunning.
Just perfect. Dirk Gently is one of my favorite things of all time, and trying to explain to other Americans things about it, they're like, why do you like this? I don't understand. Like this is not a thing that we read.
I feel like we have Douglas Adams and like Terry Pratchett.
Yes,
together.
thank you.
Beautiful
together.
Also
Neil
Neil
Gaiman sometimes
Gaiman.
gets thrown in there because of Bad Omens, working with Pratchett. So I also put
I think they also worked together on another project. No, different one. I'm thinking the planet, like it was like time travel. Anyway, whatever. It was Pratchett and another person, but it didn't read very Pratchett.
White English authors are basically like white American authors. We all look the same.
No, but you can't include Terry Pratchett in there. Terry Pratchett is the best of us.
Oh, I mean, if I had even like an inkling of his creativity, I think I'd be fine for life. He's so sorry.
Anyways,
huge
but
old
before
Pratchett nerd.
Yeah, if
Before we
fall
get
down,
into that, we should
Another 45
so we've
minutes
got-
talking about not this game.
Exactly. Yeah, Turtles all the way down. Let's keep going. Where are we at?
We've got 4 points left
4 points.
because we've got 3 and 4 AC, 4C, and 3 in contact.
What about empathize? Being a poor kid, you're always able to relate to everybody because you're like, oh, I get it. Like you're also poor. Or the rich kids finally have problems. You're like, oh, hey, you have a problem. You're kind of like me.
We're basically the same person. Yeah.
We're basically the same thing.
Our problems are similar. You don't have any quinoa. I don't have any food.
Like quinoa, not a super rich person food, but
Also-
when you say it, it does sound
over here.
fancy.
Also, I'm pretty sure it didn't
Over
exist
here,
in the
it's
80s.
very middle class.
Yeah, it didn't exist until like the 2010s, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of boxed quinoa. That's the thing. Like, oh my god,
We'll have some boxed quinoa with our boxed wine. America.
with our boxed wine, exactly. Both rich person foods.
I'm just trying to think of see, the thing is that I'm thinking of when people stuck everything in jelly, and I don't think that was the 80s.
No,
that was the 70s.
I like how you perceive time. Honestly, I think you were downplaying your Terry Pratchettness because your perception is
Time
very
is fake.
timey-wimey.
Time is fake.
It is.
Okay.
It's a conception.
Time doesn't need. It's a weird soup. We don't need to abide by normal time, whatevers. My mother. Sorry to distract again. So
You've never.
my
done
mother
this
is
before.
trying
This is crazy.
to. Hi, welcome to Character Creation with Ellie and Rick. My mother recently had to make a timeline for the last 10 years for something, and she was like, you got married in 2016. And I was like, no, I got married in 2015. And she was like, no, you didn't. And I'm like, yeah, I
You're
did.
gonna argue with it. That's such a mom thing, dude.
And she was like, no, it was 2016. And I'm like, no, Mum, it was 2015 because it's a nice round number. Like, you can remember anniversaries because it's on the 5th of, we couldn't wait another, few years to get to 2020 to get married. Good thing. But to, be able to easily remember anniversaries, but 5 was good enough. And Mum was just like, can you ask your husband? And I was like, no.
Can you go ask?
It was my wedding. So yeah,
no, that's fake.
That
you
doesn't
were just
help.
you were just there.
Yeah.
Doesn't. So yeah, the ADHD time blindness runs deep within my family. It's literally only since I realized I had ADHD that we have realized a lot of my family's quirks are neurodiversity.
My favorite thing is when you find out that you're kind of neurospicy and you bring it up and your parents go, that doesn't make any sense. We're all fine. And you're like, no.
You're like, no, hey, here's all these things that you do that are not normal.
I promise you that's not the case.
So I told my mum and she was like, that's really, like, that's not, ADHD. That's really normal. I was like, no, Mum, it's ADHD. I think you have ADHD. And she was like, I do not. And I sent her a list. I sent her a list of the symptoms, and she was like, "Oh, I think I might have ADHD." And I'm like, "Yes."
I'm glad that's a universal constant because that's very similar to some of my experiences.
You completely forget to eat or drink or do anything when you're interested in something, which is usually gardening. Like, there is a term in our family for it, which is Linnyland. You go to Linnyland.
I thought Linnyland was just a place like in South London.
My mum's called Lynn, so
yeah. I thought that was just a place you could go for fish and
once
chips.
Again,
it's like
very
Nando's.
English, just gardening.
Yeah, there's Linnyland, Nando's, and then every pub. Like I thought.
Those are our only places of eating.
Yeah, exactly. We could get a Chinese.
Do you know what's been wild to me is that discussion.
Yeah.
Is the fact that Americans find that offensive.
I don't know if it's offensive. It's just so different. It's just such a foreign concept by comparison
the fact that you say a takeout instead of a takeaway is wild to me.
We don't say a takeout. That
easy.
Is not a thing. We say we're going to go get takeout if we do say
that still is not... You're going to get a takeaway.
No, I've never gotten a takeaway.
Yeah, also like pick and mix gets me every time. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I understand it. I understand what it is, but it sounds wrong.
What do you call it?
Sound
Pick and mix.
No. Oh, we have to keep going. It's just never. It's never gonna.
No, we
also,
don't.
We don't have a name for it.
What do you call pick and mix?
We don't have a name for it. It's a bunch of shit in a thing.
For it. That's not a thing. A la carte, if you have to, or a buffet.
You're missing out. Like,
we're not. I promise you, we're not missing out. Just like we're not missing out on a Chinese. That's not a thing. I didn't see it and go, oh man, if only our Chinese food looked like that.
Oh, so you guys are mad at the way we have Chinese, not
we're
the
not
fact
mad.
That
we're just not
going
jealous.
To get a Chinese.
Oh, it's okay.
Not disappointed.
Your food also looks shit.
Listen. As someone who has been to China, like American Chinese food.
Oh, it does not resemble Chinese food.
Like not even
neither one does. Neither one does for sure. The argument's not that ours is authentic. It's just that yours is McDonald's.
You have McDonald's.
Yeah, but we don't call it a Chinese when we get it.
Okay, but also your McDonald's has a lot of bacon on it compared to ours, and that's saying something.
We have a lot of bacon too, right? Oh man.
Because why you think? Because every Chinese that I've been to doesn't have chips. I think it's in very specific communities that have Chinese with chips being sold.
Yeah, I think that was just mostly the trend. It's not so much that we've seen it anecdotally. It's just that the people are like, that's the example that they're giving, so that's what we're going with. And it's like, well, that seems strange. Because we don't often give fries with ours.
Let's
finish this character up. We're so close.
To me.
We're so close.
No, you're fine. We're just all
so
on one
incredibly
today.
far away. Right.
We're gonna put really on one today. Shut up, Kayla. Yes, we're making a character.
I'm here to fight Americans. That's the only purpose I'm here for.
Listen, we'll let you win. We're not proud of America. That's not a thing.
But that's what your stereotype is.
That's nice for the stereotype.
You've definitely met me, so like, not in person, but you know.
These colors do run, is what I'm trying to say.
So anyway, what do we have left, Terry? Bring us back.
My father was a communist. Let's so do we have any stats left, or are we done with the stats?
Because I think, fucking hell, fuck me.
You know, I think we're close enough. I think we're close enough.
Is it only up to 3 on ones that we have?
Yes, up to 3 on the fancy ones that go with our
Okay.
our
So that
character
means
class.
that, but other than that, it should be like a 2
A 1.
or just a 1. A
Just a
1.
1.
Okay. Then we have way more stuff to actually put stats in. Where did I put the fucking
Well, we
thing?
only get 10
There.
points. We only get 10 points for this part. So if we put 3 in
Yeah.
other stuff, then
So we should probably put the 3 points in lead instead of contact, and then 1 point in contact, because we've got 3 in lead, and then we want 1 in empathize. So we have got 2 more things we can put stuff in.
so we have 2 points left. Let's go
yes.
with probably not with Tinker. I think you had a really good point. Poor people find a way to build stuff. Because we can't
Very
buy
intuitive.
it, so.
Yeah.
The
And then
redneck
I
And
ingenuity.
then maybe.
Yeah, what were you gonna say, Rick?
I was saying it's the redneck ingenuity. You know.
Exactly. Like, we have a hot tub. It's an old bathtub that somebody threw out, and we put a fire underneath it. Definitely saw those growing up. And then maybe force, or no, we already did force. What about sneak?
Oh, we can add 3 points, but we only have 1 point left. So,
Right.
yeah, 1 point into sneak. Cool.
Look at that.
So, we got 1 point in sneak, 3 points in force, 1 point in tinker, 1 point in contact, 3 points in lead, and 1 point in empathize.
Awesome. That means the only thing we have left is to pick our character's favorite song, which doesn't really apply mechanically. It's just really fun to, like, if they take lead in a moment in the game, or if they roll a critical success type thing, you play their theme song. It's a thing that I've actually incorporated into every game that I run. I make people run playlists and pick their favorite song for their character. So they do something cool, they have a cool soundtrack. But in this game, it's actually part of your character sheet. So we got to pick a really cool 80s song. And yes, I did put my cyberpunk glasses on. They also double as Matt Murdock glasses if you want to.
That was my first
Daredevil.
thought. Was it part of your Daredevil cosplay?
It is. It literally is. That's I wanted to see if anybody was paying attention. So good on you. So
I don't know. I mean, I feel like maybe some Judas Priest or something, you know, because at that point it wasn't well known, you know, that he was gay or anything. So everybody was just like, oh, they're just cool and
they're just
badass.
But also
they're even more badass now that we know. But like,
damn right,
the way it is.
I listened to a lot of Judas Priest as a kid, and then the Misfits was another big one for me. That was
I was also
80s,
thinking like Motorhead, because that kind of goes along with
Motorhead.
like, the whole stereotype of that type of person, you know, kind of the like
The metalhead, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
What songs do you like from Motorhead and or Judas Priest? Ace of Spades comes to mind.
Also, Breaking the Law, just like
Breaking the Law, yeah. It's on the nose, but also just works really, really well.
Yeah.
Also, wasn't
one of the earlier songs too.
Wasn't Hellbent for Leather one of their songs?
Yeah, and that has a really cool connotation to it when you think about it in hindsight, right? Like what they're talking about. So that one could be good.
And you know, it's like with Elton John or what was the guy? Liberace, where, you know, looking back, we're like, how did you not know?
How did you not know, right? That was a lot with Queen, I think, for a lot of people when they got popular again in the 90s here in the States. Was like, well, yeah, obviously, but it really wasn't obvious at first. But Hellbent for Leather is a really good choice. That's my vote.
I'm here for it. Ellie?
Yeah. I don't know that song, so.
You gotta.
Well, now
I
you-
mean,
You got to
maybe
look it
not
up
on,
after the
on
stream
stream,
because
but
we'll
you
get
should
taken
look
down
it
if you
up.
listen to it now.
Just log off.
Yeah, Judas Priest surprisingly litigious when it comes to using their songs. You wouldn't think it, but
Oh no, it's mostly just Twitch or a bunch of bastards.
yeah, I've never heard that. Amazon, kind of being jerks to the little
Wild.
guy. That's strange.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Totally out of left field.
So, do you now
Never
run down
happened.
everything that is Bjorn and give the total package before we go?
Yeah.
Kind of sometimes. I think we mostly just get distracted and then we're like, okay, that's it.
I'm so sorry. I was looking forward to checking out, and then I had my birthday stuff last week, so I'm not gonna lie, I was drinking a lot, and I had messaged Rick. I was like, I didn't have a chance to watch any of the show. Please tell me what I need to do. And the answer was, oh,
you
nothing.
absolute
We don't
monster.
prepare for this. So I
Yeah.
don't mean to impose some sort of format on you
Order.
if you don't use
How dare?
it.
It's the fact
Don't
that
put us
you're
into a
like, oh, you
box.
just go off on tangents, and it's like, babe, this is what we do.
This is who we are. Okay.
This is our MO.
Well, then
this is
you
also
do me
how
a
I
favor.
conduct conversations.
That's how you do business. Can you tell me then who Bjorn is?
Oh.
You
I
have
mean-
the sheet.
I do.
I'm gonna say you have it all written down,
Bjorn?
so go for it.
I do. But do I though? Did I just lie? Bjorn is 11 years old. He really wants to just get away from his home. And the reason why is because he's from a very poor family where they're communist, alcoholic, and good for nothing. I took this in note form, can you tell? Their pride, their source of pride is that they saved a bird with a broken wing by drowning it in the sewer.
No, pulling it out of the sewer. They didn't drown it in the sewer.
Oh, so they drowned it in the sewer. Their absolute favorite song is Hellbent for Leather. Their iconic item is a skateboard with a knife attached to it. They have 2 points in body, 1 point in tech, 5 points in heart. So they didn't actually murder anything. It's because I have 1 point in heart. And they have 3 points in mind. They have they're a bit of a sneaky boy. They've got 1 point in sneak. They've
That's
got
really all the
3
points you need
points
in sneak to be good at it.
Right.
yeah. They're a forceful boy, which is not a great sentence. So I'm going to go back to sneaky boy. No, he's a sneaky boy. But he also forces open locks is my headcanon for this.
Bjorn forces open locks, but always gets consent before doing anything with any kids.
Yep.
Same age.
Yeah. So his force points are 3.
I forgot about that.
They have 1 point in tinkering because they're a bit of a redneck engineer. They have 1 point in contact, 3 points in lead. He's a future president, and 1 point in empathize. So he's not a future president.
You joke, but I don't think you actually need empathy to be president. Looking at recent examples.
No, I think
that's a detriment.
I think to get into power, you need to not. But we that is Bjorn, and poor Terry has introduced structure to this poor stream, which
so
has been
sorry.
noted in the chat.
You absolute monster.
That's my neurospiciness. So I'm like, I can't leave.
I was trying really hard to be professional for you today.
Listen,
when you were like, "What's the structure?" and I was like, "Oh shit, we need structure."
Listen, he kept the 3 of us in line whenever I was on Cave Trolls, so It's fine. This was to be expected.
That's my job. I already wrangle people for a living, and I'm a dad, so it's kind of like, all right, guys, back to what we're doing here. Let's just finish up with the crayons. So, it's just kind of part of what I do. So I appreciate you letting me come on and wrangle a little bit.
Hey, thanks for coming on.
As a white guy likes to do, I get to come on and just boss people around. So I really appreciate it.
Totally checks out. All right, well, let's see if we can't raid somebody real quick. Wow, I
just want to talk now. This is terrible. I just want to chat.
All right, we're gonna
I'm
try and do
really
this
bad
thing.
at this whole thing.
So thanks for coming on, Terry. It has been a blast. I think this might be one of our longest character creation streams, but that's okay. I had a good time doing it.